Hey there, West Michigan. Thanks for watching 13 Plus. I'm meteorologist Michael Behrens. It's been a milder Sunday out there today compared to where we started the weekend in the 30s. The cloud cover picked up just a bit throughout the day. Our temperatures, though, they're going to keep rising as we head into this week. I want to show you a few photos we got from across the region today. Bill over at Muskegon Lake this morning got a beautiful picture of the sunrise out there. Mary over in Grand Haven saw a little bit wavier activity, sent this photo in from the beach in Lakeshore there, looking out over the water. Had a view of the clouds and the sun from Holland out there. Sun making its way through some of those clouds today, still making it for a fairly nice Sunday. And we got one more photo from the Lakeshore as the sun started to go down. Mike also in Grand Haven sending in this beautiful view. Of course, if you want to share your photos with us here at 13 on your side, you can always send them to me on social media. Meteorologist Michael Behrens on Facebook and at Mike Behrens WX on the X, Twitter, Instagram, and Threads. When it came to temperatures today, hit a high of 50 in Grand Rapids, 47 Muskegon, 49 Holland, and 55 in Kalamazoo. Those temperatures well above average for this time of the year, but still inside our 3-degree guarantee. Delta 47 hit 50 this afternoon, brings the current streak to 2 days in a row. Of course, we'll hope to add to that for tomorrow. Speaking of tomorrow, temperature is going to continue to climb. That's why 13 Weather Ball is lit up in red as those warmer temperatures are ahead.
The 13 on your side Weather Ball, sponsored by LaFontaine Ford Grand Rapids.
And speaking of warmer temperatures, they're going to be here tonight as well, with winds that continue to come in from the south. Not too strong of a wind flow out there this evening, but overall we're going to stay on the mild side of the weather pattern. And as we crossed 10 o'clock, we were still even in the 40s in Grand Rapids, Holland, and Kalamazoo. Temperatures closer to freezing up in the northern counties. You will be colder tonight. All of us eventually going to drop down into the low 30s as we head through this evening. We'll look for partly cloudy skies and temperatures down to the low 30s with some wind chills in the 20s overnight. We'll warm back up close to 60 by tomorrow afternoon, though, with mostly sunny skies in store for your Monday. In fact, that high will reach 59 after starting the day, close to 31 here in Grand Rapids. Temperatures keep climbing as we head into Tuesday, into the mid 60s for Tuesday afternoon, but that comes with the risk for some strong storms as we head toward Tuesday evening. More on that in just a moment. If you've had the radar app out today, you may have noticed some light rain popping up south of Grand Rapids. This is all virga, though. It's rain that falls but evaporates before it reaches ground level. You can see how much weaker that area to the south looks when we switch to just the Grand Rapids radar. It's because the radar beams shoot up into the sky, so sometimes they see things that don't quite reach ground level. In fact, our forecast, well, we stay dry until those storm chances get here on Tuesday. Between now and then, just a few clouds passing through. So let's go ahead and track things hour by hour and get to that stormy forecast for Tuesday. Here's what we look at for the rest of tonight. Those partly cloudy skies will dissipate as we head into early Monday morning, and will be sunny throughout most of the day Monday. A few high clouds throughout the day, but really nothing else to worry about as we head toward Monday night. Cloud cover starts to increase. Strong southerly winds keep things pretty mild across the region. We have a couple risks for storms on Tuesday. The first one, a smaller risk in the morning. In fact, you can see the model here not really picking up much out there early Tuesday. If something can get going, there's energy here that maybe produces a little bit of hail, maybe a little bit of light wind, but again, this is the smaller of the two storm risks. As we get into the afternoon, things quiet down. We could see some sunshine in here that would add some energy to the environment, so not a good thing to see sunshine on Tuesday, but something we'll keep an eye out for. And then you can see the storms really start to kick up as we head into Tuesday night. You can see as we go toward really anytime after 7 o'clock when we could see these start to roll in. This model here showing it closer to midnight with some stronger storms pushing through. These continue into the early AM hours of Wednesday before the low pressure system starts to push through. On the backside of it, we pull colder air in, and we could be looking at some snow and rain mix out there by Wednesday morning. This will turn to all snow by the time we head toward Wednesday midday and into the afternoon. Minor accumulation of snowfall possible on the back end of this system, but I think the bigger impact to watch for is going to be if we see any of the strong storms out there on Tuesday. There already is a risk for severe weather in place that includes Grand Rapids and all of West Michigan. Level 1 out of 5 in the green area. The yellow, level 2 out of 5. Areas south of 96 have the best chance for strong storms on Tuesday. We will have to keep a close eye on this to see just what exactly can develop with this system as it pushes through. So make sure you're watching the forecast closely and staying weather aware. Temperatures out there as we head into Monday, breezy and 50s on the lakeshore, close to 60 by the time you head towards South Haven. Those temperatures will be in the mid 50s for our northern counties. Temperatures pushing into the upper 50s, close to 60s by the time you head down to Kalamazoo. 13 on your side, 10-day outlook. Temperatures climb into the mid-60s for Tuesday. That's what helps to fuel those storms before falling temperatures. Wednesday turn rain into snow. We'll be in the 30s for Thursday, but climbing back to the 60s by next weekend. Another round of storms looks likely Wednesday night into early Tuesday, again pushing temperatures back down. While creating video and media is something we do every day here at 13 on your side, for many that skill could have seemed out of reach. Well, that was until now. There are 2 new classes here in West Michigan that are teaching the next generation of storytellers how to shoot and edit video. 13 on your side's Eric Howard shows us how.
You don't necessarily have to be a filmmaker or an aspiring podcaster or anything like that to get something out of our classes.
The Grand Rapids Community Media Center is set to launch its new educational courses designed around using state-of-the-art technology to empower a new generation of storytellers. This includes
The Blackmagic Pocket cinema cameras. Those are specifically ideal for independent filmmakers. They're super lightweight and versatile.
which are a little intimidating at first glance.
During the class, we'll kind of go over some of those features of how you can use it to the best of your abilities.
That's GRTV's education coordinator, Elena Taylor. Her philosophy is pretty simple.
To be able to create like an accessible path for anyone to experiment in media production or film.
By offering these courses, Elena recognizes that there may be a lot of people coming through the door who have wanted to tell a story, but couldn't.
If you don't have access to the equipment and you don't have access to be able to go to school and pay however much to learn how to edit professionally, it can feel like once you're past that point, you're not going to have the opportunity to break into that.
The courses don't stop with only the camera though, as the second course offered will teach you how to edit what you shot.
If you've never done editing before, we kind of go over the fundamentals of how you would compose sequences and create meaning through the editing choices you're making. It's really hands-on, and you can also ask questions and get feedback.
The most important part of it all, collaboration.
If you have like a specific vision for something, this would be a great place to find other people that could be invested in that.
Eric Howard, 13 on your side.
Now to an out-of-this-world story. For the first time in over 50 years, a U.S. spacecraft has successfully landed on the moon after a week-long flight totaling more than 620,000 miles. The touchdown ushering in a new chapter of the great space race. ABC News' Morgan Norwood has more.
Houston, Odysseus has found his new home.
For the first time in decades, an American spacecraft is on the moon.
We are transmitting, and welcome to the moon.
Odysseus landing on the moon's surface Thursday. The company behind it, Intuitive Machines, posting on social media site X, writing, "Odysseus is alive and well. Flight controllers are communicating and commanding the vehicle to download science data. The lander has good telemetry and solar charging." But the journey to this point wasn't always 100% smooth sailing.
And we'll stand by and monitor as Nova Controls continues to work this issue.
Just before it was due to land, Mission Control found that the navigation system used to guide the lander to the surface wasn't working.
We're also not dead yet.
Luckily, the team was able to rewrite the lander's software, taking control of an experimental navigation system, and in the 11th hour, landing as planned.
Today, for the first time in more than a half century, the U.S. has returned to the moon.
Odysseus, or Odie, is the first U.S.-built spacecraft to land on the moon since 1972, and its home base is located on the moon's south pole. It's the first of many missions NASA has set to explore the area, which is suspected to have ice that could be converted to drinking water or be made into rocket fuel.
The moon has 1/6 the gravity of Earth and no atmosphere, so it's a much easier place to launch deeper into the solar system. It really is the launching pad into human exploration out into deep space.
Okay, so the hope here is that Odie will help NASA better map out the South Pole before that critical Artemis mission to the moon in 2026. Of course, that's when astronauts will go to the lunar surface. I'm Morgan Norwood, ABC News, New York.
And there's another job opportunity that's out of this world as well. Well, not exactly out of this world, but it will be feeling like you're living on Mars. NASA is looking for someone to live in a Mars simulator for an entire year. Anyone can apply for the 12-month mission. NASA says it will help scientists determine what would be needed for potential future missions to the planet. 4 people will be picked, and they'll live in a 1,700 square foot space that was 3D printed. NASA didn't say how much this will pay, but does say there will be compensation. This week we are starting the last week of February, but unlike most years, this month of February has 29 days instead of the typical 28. 13 on your sides, Veronica Ortega explains the history of the leap year and why it's so important that we have it.
2024 is a leap year, and the question arises, why do we have leap years? Well, the Earth takes 1 year to revolve around the sun, right? Not exactly. It actually takes 365.2422 days. So when you subtract and find the difference, it's not 0. We realized we're behind about 5.8 hours each year. While this is a small number, over decades and centuries, this would have an impact on our calendar. In 100 years, our calendars would be off 24 days. So for example, instead of the first day of spring being on March 19th, without leap year, it would be on February 23rd, and so on and so forth. To help synchronize the time, the solution that was introduced centuries ago. We add 1 day every 4 years, problem solved, right? Not quite. When you subtract the amount of time it takes for the Earth to complete 1 revolution around the sun with our solution, you find out we're still about 11 minutes off each year. And over 100 years, our calendar would be about 18 hours off, which doesn't sound like a huge problem. But over centuries, this would eventually throw off our calendar. To help bring this number closer to 0, we'll actually skip leap years to help realign the calendar to the solar year. But the rules are very specific to help understand this. We can use leap year hopscotch to solve the problem. You skip a leap year if it falls on the start of a century, unless that year is divisible by 400. So for example, every 4 years we'll acknowledge the extra day in February, but in the year 2100, we will skip that leap year since 1, it falls on the start of a century, and 2, it is not divisible by 400. Back in year 2000, that was a leap year, but since it was divisible by 400, we did not skip it. This is easy to understand, right? With this added solution, the current average is 365.2425, which is a lot closer to the solar year. But unfortunately, we're still off by decimals, to be exact, about 26 seconds ahead each year. At this rate, it would take over 3,000 years to be off by 1 day, which some would say is close enough.
And with all the math in the last story, you might be looking forward to summer break. And while the leap year this year is putting that summer break 1 more day away, many of us have already been enjoying this winter's warmer temperatures, but unfortunately, so have the ticks. During the winter season, ticks go into a lower energy state, making them a lesser risk. But due to the warm winter we've had, the Kent County Health Department is warning that not only will ticks come earlier, it's going to be more than usual.
We're expecting a really bad tick season this summer. Adult ticks can overwinter in the leaf litter, in the forest floor, and high grasses, and they're protected by the soil and the heat coming off the earth. Well, when you have mild winters like this and the frost doesn't get very too deep into the ground, then there's that many more adults that come out when it gets about 40 and above, ready to bite people.
They are not warning to avoid the outdoors, but they are asking people to be aware of the threat. They recommend using tick-repelling bug sprays, wearing layers, and carefully checking for ticks before going back inside. For more information, check out the Kent County's environmental health page. And finally tonight, we've got a few check this out stories. First up, Swiper from Dora the Explorer has a real life twin. That's right. A fox managed to make off with a phone in Bagshot, England. It belonged to a worker from the Royal Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals during a rescue operation. They released the video a little while ago, and the rescuer was called to the scene the rescuer who took the video was called to the scene to assist an injured fox and set up his phone to record the action. But then another fox had a different idea. It watched the phone being set up, grabbed it, and ran off before dropping it in some nearby bushes. According to the RSPCA, the injured animal was rescued and received the necessary treatment. And for our next Check This Out story, a zoo in England is trying to solve a unique problem. Typically, the zoo is a family-friendly area, but the Lincolnshire Wildlife Park is trying to rehab several parrots that have an affinity for inappropriate language. You can guess the words there. And, well, they've got a lot to deal with because 8 parrots could possibly corrupt the other 92. They also erupt into laughter afterwards, mimicking the common reaction they get from people who walk by and hear it. Our next story, something promoted as the most insane athletic showdown, the Florida Man Games. The games poke fun at the state's reputation for bizarre stories that involve brawling, drinking, and even reptile wrangling. Several thousand people actually paid money to watch the games. There were contests like barbecue pork eating competition, pool noodle duels, and a theft simulation relay. The Florida Man phenomenon started with a Twitter account that shared many news articles with some of the weirdest stories to come from the state. And finally tonight, meteorologist Sam Jacks is celebrating a big win today. She spent the weekend participating in Dancing with the Local Stars in Muskegon. Sam and her team, which included our own Emily Scarlett as a backup dancer, ended up winning the Critics' Choice category. The event raises money for local food pantry programs. Congratulations to all who were involved. And before I say goodbye tonight, one final word. This is my last 13 Weather Plus as I am moving on to our sister station in Columbus, a promotion here within the company. I will be leaving for WBNS starting not next week, but the week after that. But this is my last weekend here at 13 on Your Side. So I want to thank everyone for watching over the years and for staying with us on air, online, and of course, right here on the 13 Plus app. There'll be more stories to come in the future. But for now, thanks for watching. I'm meteorologist Michael Behrens.